Şimdi sesim geliyordur arkadaşlar herhalde. Yes, so we are continue talk with Jasmin, Deniz, Karataş. I think we got a connection problem with her, but I can hear very clearly. Hopefully you can hear us too. So let me join her to session again. Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. I think I had some troubles. Sometimes it's really strange with my internet. Just
No
bought
problem.
new one. Yo, I just bought new one for glass fiber, but I don't know.
No, maybe it can be on Instagram too. Everyone doing the live sessions, you know, it's a new trend. So you were talking about a great approach to design thinking. You missed some part of the gamification, so you can merge them. Please continue with that.
Okay, with the explaining the card thingy, or how I merged the. I don't know where I dropped out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can from where you left with the cards and emotions.
Okay, perfect. Because I didn't know where I was dropping out. So okay, how I merged the design thinking. So we all know that design thinking have those. I'm repeating the 3 pillars like vision, technology, and mindset. So the mindset is about the people, and then we always create the what, but we forget about the how and the why. So for me, it was important because reading about a lot of gamification stuff or games, and as well, it came then up that it was like, okay, the emotion part is very, very important as well. This how should the user feel? How is it not just the what? It's as well about the why. And so I came up to building the emotion cards in it. So I looked into psychological, as you probably heard as well on Yukai, or if you know Yukai Chu's book, he is well referring to the core drives. I looked into emotions a little bit deeper with a little bit of psychological background, and so I created like 13 cards. But as well, it is very important to have the storytelling part in it. Like that's why we have a 5th kind of deck in it, which is called presentation or storytelling, because it's not just important to have the mechanics, which are more or less on the emotion side, like the what. It's as well then about the how. But it's as well about the how you tell the story. If you're looking at games, some games just have pure mechanics, but they have at least a little bit of a narrative into it. Like Tetris itself doesn't have the big like narrative like in a role play, but it has some narrative in building on the top and stack and defeat the other. So this is a very, very crucial part. So if you wanted to build really good gamification, you hopefully not miss the narrative part. The mechanics are as well important. It's a hygiene you need to have. But the people, they interact for sure with the mechanics, but the heart is lying where the narrative is lying. So when you tell a good story, like what you just had today as well, in your story, like in the Instagram story, like the Eva was against coronavirus, like fighting the little girl, you know, like that's already a story you can encounter and you can emotionalize with, and that's very, very important.
So you are going to also found those cards with call mindset cards. I love that. And please, can you tell us a little bit little cards?
Like those ones, you mean?
Yes. How they can reach that,
yeah.
And how they can find more details about that. They can buy also, of course.
Sure. So, yeah, if they want, they can buy it physical. We ship it international, but they as well can have just the download. So you can find it very easy. Mindset with a Y instead of a I. So it's like my mindset, so my mindset .cards. So it's very easy to find. And there you can get as well our newest one, which is just about storytelling. So really more dedicated to storytelling and how you're building an app. So that is as well a part we just made a new booster pack on it. And in short while, there will come education deck for pupils and students and for teachers.
Oh,
it's a little bit different.
cool.
It's smaller. It's as well cheaper. It's not the same cards, different, but it is for the educational stuff and project work in schools.
So let's focus on that too. I mean, everyone's asking about me, which areas in future of gamification going to be more popular, and just we mentioned about, I think it's education and the classroom trainings and online trainings after the pandemic.
Yeah.
But what is the technology also, you know, going to be very important for future of gamification? What do you think about those?
I mean, AI is always a very important part in gamification. So artificial intelligence, it's kind of the backbone, it's the algorithm, which will get more and more important, but it needs to be put it very carefully, because you can, as you know, nudge people into something they may don't want to do. So we saw it in the Cambridge Analytica scandal. If you look into that, you know how you can use data and kind of behavioral design in a very manipulative way. So, but this will be future like technologies, artificial intelligence. Then for sure, AR, VR will be much more used in the terms of bringing people together, as well in the gamification world. It will be mixed and merged from my point of perspective, and it will be used probably as well for educational backgrounds and simulations. So I mean, these are trend topics you see as well. What I see is a trend back to analog stuff, where it there are some, sorry, just to later to Lita, the cards, there are special cards for storytelling, yes. But these are very special cards. It's a booster pack on the original one. Coming back to what you just where I was just talking about is the technologies that I see as well, a trend back to the analog world. I know that in the pandemic, digital is very heavily used, but the people as well wanted to have something in their hands, and that is kind of what I see is as well a trend, heavily mixing, so to say, again with the digital world.
I mean, also the areas. I mean, I know every area. For example, I can answer like, you know, I cannot point a specific areas like health or finance or education or I don't know, trade, sales or marketing. But the domain are going to be more popular. Some domains are going to be maybe involve more gaming and also gamification. What do you think about that?
So for me, it's kind of, the areas are kind of not the same-ish. They change a little bit because so health will always be there. Financial sector is now looking very heavily in gamification. So there are a couple of banks which are now going really, really heavily in gamification. So the financial sector, because it's not like beforehand that you were at a bank, your parents were at a bank, and then you were going to the same financial institute your lifelong. That's changing as well. As for the insurance part, it's changing a lot, like they are merging into the fitness stuff. But then the question is, okay, does that make sense? Because to build an own app on it and nobody using it is just like pointless. But that's my very own opinion. Where I see what is coming in is a huge trend on, as I mentioned before, luxury brands. They already looked into topics like how should I say, gamification, but as I mentioned before, they are now looking into the emerging technology of CGI, so virtual reality or AR or mixed reality, because they cannot encounter with the people analog, so they need to find new ways of digital involvement. And they see that, for instance, like Fortnite is popping up, like League of Legends. If you're looking at Louis Vuitton, they are heavily into the League of Legends. as well. If you look at Diesel, they are as well going down that road. It's not a luxury brand, but like the fashion brand, because what you need to understand is the market of gaming. If you wanted to understand what gamification, what hits next, you need to look into the gaming market. And the gaming market is hitting very quite heavily again in China, especially the mobile market, because they don't have laptops, they don't have tablets, they have just phones. As well, the Indian market, like the Southeast Asian market, is heavily growing in gamification. You can see that trend coming up. And what is very interesting is that the personas of the luxury brands there, especially in China, because there's growing heavily in the middle segment. So like that's people getting more money. That means they can spend more money. So that means that they wanted to gamify them. So that is something what is coming up quite tremendously, like the consumer market there. And coming just back to the gaming sector, whereas they are very similar. The personas, the consumers are very, very similar to what the luxury brands or the fashion brands or like those consumer brands are looking for. So they need to go in this area. There is no other way to engage with them than that.
Thank you. I mean, it's very insightful all over from world. You gave us some examples. And last week I saw a report. I can't remember the website, but they put the government on third. Jasmin.
Yes, it is. It is true.
I mean,
it is true.
It's. I think it's a little bit scary in Turkey. Let's say this way. But I mean, so
Germany did.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, government. I mean, how the governments are going to need gamification.
Be careful. It is not like not be careful. We should be careful because in China we see the trend of social engineering. Somebody, you can think of what you want of it. I don't want to go down the road. But I know in Germany that the German state has written in his education, in the educational area for schools and grown-up education, that they want to use gamification. It's written in the agenda. So to engage different with people as well in simulations, so they see that they need to get engaged with the younger people. And for them, games are maybe a little bit too far away, so they wanted to try out the middle ground, what gamification is. And when we take not the translation, but the definition of gamification, literally, it says taking over game mechanics or game stuff, putting it into business. So that doesn't mean that we just need to take Easter eggs out of and putting it into business. It is, we need to look at games, what they do good, and then put that into business. And that is what they're looking for, because maybe they don't want to build a complete game, but they wanted to build something which has some impact. And that is where the point is, what you're heading probably towards to is that governments wanted to use gamification more. Then it's up to us, if we are the designers, that we design it very, very, very carefully, because you have obligation that it's not misused. Because I don't know if you guys know, as I mentioned before as well, about the Analytica stuff, where they really, really tremendously used such mechanics we as well use in gamification to really influence people not to go to vote. And that tremendously is politically then what you can see what's happening all over the world, because that is not just something, a new app or something like that. This has tremendous effect on people's life. And that is just what I wanted to say, is it's important when you do gamification or when you do design something, you please think of the ethical background and the things you are doing, because it can have a tremendous impact on other people's life.
we should very carefully about that the gamification, like you said, and if the government use it bad way, it could be a little bit scary for everyone. I mean, so
and that
let's go.
sorry.
Let's go. Please.
It's just that is as well, you know, why it's so important that you have these calls and that you give your that you as well do such tremendous work on gamification, know about this power. So thank you for doing that, because it's important that we educate people about it and what it can bring. That's important.
Yeah. So my last question. What is the best Turkey moment?
Oh my God. The best. I really need to choose one. I have so many good. Yeah, it's a little bit of delay, but it's okay. I cannot choose one. I have so many good experiences with Turkey. For me, the people. It's always the people I meet. It's such a. I love to. It's really. I feel home when I'm coming to like the people, the right people, meeting the right people. It feels for me like home. Like that is for me. Then I'm there, and that's something I think which I love being then in Turkey. That's what I love. I love the people there. They're very hard, you know, like they're so heartful, like they're there with you.
Because of you, I mean, thank you, and we will see you again, hopefully, in after pandemic. And thanks for your all knowledge you were sharing with us. And that was a good diary, I think, that we took Gamification Diaries right now. And it's such a honor to share you the same stage, online stage again, Jasmin. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you, people who were looking out, watched it. And if you have any questions, so please go ahead, ask me, ask Altu, and thank you for your great work, Altu.
Thanks. I am helping. You help us, and we can increase the gamification with a good way, and to all young fellas. You know, it's very getting popular in Turkey too. Thanks to you. Thank you, Jasmin, and see you hopefully good days. And 2021, we will have you in physically in all good Istanbul again. Hopefully. Thank you.
Hopefully, stay safe, stay healthy.
See you. Take care.
See you. Bye. Thanks.